The Puppeteer, a former Dunmer noblewoman, discredited and cast out. Unable to regain the trappings of her former wealth, she settles for the next best thing, power. Our build was born into the most noble and wealthy family of House Redoran, one of the most powerful factions that ruled over Morrowind. House Redoran was historically the strongest of the 5 houses by way of their military capabilities, with a core of proud and well-trained warriors, and the gold that left them more than capable to hire mercenaries from neighbouring provinces if they were needed. Our build was fiercely loyal towards her house, and resented that they did most of the work to protect Morrowind's borders and uphold the peace, yet still had to share the administrative control of the province with the 5 other noble houses. To her mind, House Redoran could easily seize power by force should they so choose, and their restraint in upholding the political system was evident to their benign intentions should they choose to rule themselves. She knew that her house would never consent to seizing power, so she resolved to take matters into her own hands. She was an illusion mage of near unparalleled skill, but fortunately for her, limited renown, and used her abilities to mould the minds of others. Initially, this took the form of manipulating the minds of diplomats and politicians from other houses to sway decisions in the favour of House Redoran. But then it took an even more sinister turn. Gradually, troublesome political targets would be driven insane, or made erratically violent, and were imprisoned or removed from public life. All this was due to her clever spell weaving. Our build always kept her face hidden behind a sinister tribunal mask, even if she was spotted, which she seldom was, since she had learned to keep her footfalls silent. No one knew who had bewitched them before their minds became malleable under her spells. Eventually though, the pattern of erratic behaviour left in her wake was traced back to her, when an investigation was launched, and her mask and robes, as well as spell tomes, were found in her chambers. The day when soldiers from her own house came to bring her in was imprinted on her memory. She had countered their sombre accusations with disbelief, but when that failed, she broke herself out by force. Her calming spells had no effect on them. She had no wish to hurt her own kin, but she knew she had to escape, or face the draconian consequences. She tapped into her knowledge of alteration, picking up the first soldier and dashing him against the wall as if picked up and thrown by an invisible hand. He crumpled to the floor, broken. The rest were cast aside just as easily, allowing her the possibility of escape. This way of dealing with the soldiers earned her the nickname the Puppeteer, as the House Redoran warriors had looked like morbid puppets dancing on the magical strings of her design. She knew that she would be exiled as long as she was alive, and thus travelled to Skyrim. She knew that civil war was brewing, and that someone with such skill for insidious manipulation as her could regain the wealth that she had lost, even if she could never regain her status. And this is where your story begins. The stat spread for this build will be 60% magicka, 30% health, and 10% stamina. The main skills for this build are illusion, sneak, and alteration, with the secondary skill of one-handed. Sneak and illusion play into the sneak assassin playstyle, in which you will use illusion to render yourself invisible before sneaking up behind your foes and either calming any others in the vicinity in the early game, or simply becoming invisible again once you have enough magicka to cast invisibility spells consecutively. Spells like Frenzy and Mayhem will be used to turn hostile NPCs against one another, and the Telekinesis spell, with the True Telekinesis mod, will allow you to pick up enemies who challenge you and toss them around like ragdolls. For protection, you will be using alteration spells like Ebony Flesh. You have limited health and no armour, so you must take full advantage of stealth and your arsenal of spells to utilise this build effectively. For your apparel, you will be wearing the Tribunal robes and the mask from the Tribunal robes for SSE mod. And as for your dagger, choose whichever you see fit, though I would recommend Mehrunes Razor. Since I still have a bit of footage left, I'd just like to take the time to say a big thank you for the support on the last 2 builds I made. I know I have been away from YouTube for a long time, it's been over a year since I've made a build, So I wasn't expecting anything from it, and I'm really happy with the views I got so far, and also the really nice comments that you guys have left. It really does mean a lot to me, whether it's just saying that you enjoyed the build, or especially in the last build, people had some really good constructive criticism and things that I didn't think of when making the build myself. As always, I'm just really thankful for your support, and I'll be continuing to make builds for a long time into the future, hopefully. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already for more content like this, and I'll see you again soon with another video.